One of my all-time favorite 3x3 modifications is the enclosed cube. The reason I like that puzzle so much is because it's just a very simple modification to do. It only uses 45-degree cuts, and you don't have to modify the top and bottom ends of the puzzle, so it's a very easy modification to finish. But I've also been doing a lot of work with this new angle of cut, which is very similar to how you begin an axis cube, and I have already made the faceted tetrahedron and a number of other puzzles that I really like. So I wanted to use that angle of cut to do effectively that version of the enclosed cube. It proved to be quite hard to actually pay attention to the areas I was cutting off. Normally with a 45-degree angle you just cut straight across the edge, but because this wasn't linear, I kind of lost track and accidentally ruined a 3x3. Although it might also be a testament to the level of fatigue that I am feeling, seeing as how I am about halfway done with this series. But after I put some markings on another 3x3 to kind of help me keep track of where I was cutting, I began cutting all the pieces out, and after I was done, this is what it looked like. I got a blade out and I went around the inside of each of the pieces, just cutting off all of the melted plastic, and then I filled everything up with epoxy sculpt. After that it all hardened, I took the puzzle over to my belt sander and I began sanding all of the faces down, but it actually ended up being quite difficult to sand everything down to the shape that I wanted. So the reason that this shape that I'm trying to build is so hard to sand is because when I made this puzzle here, which is, and I'll adjust the exposure so you can see it a little better, when I made this puzzle here, I picked a point on the corner and a point on the center, and I drew an imaginary line between those pieces, and that was the plane that I was sanding down on. Now the problem with that is I don't have the corners on this. I only have kind of this part at the back here and the two centerpieces that I'm trying to draw a line between. Now that's not as easy, but it's still possible. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to slowly sand down and make sure that I don't screw anything up. There are many ways to do this, some more ideal than others. After a lot of careful sanding and quite a bit of swearing too, I finally got the shape down to where I wanted it to be, and now it was time to disassemble everything so I could round over all of the pieces. I did my usual puzzle finishing technique of using a nail file to knock off all the sharp edges, a sanding block to round everything over, and then finally I rubbed the piece on some Scotch-Brite just to smooth all of the faces. And after that was all done, I reassembled everything, and this is the final puzzle. But of course, it doesn't look good without stickers, and so I cut all the stickers out, and here it is, the puzzle is finally done. This is actually a really cool shape, and I'm surprised at how close to a bipyramid it actually turned out to be. A bipyramid being two pyramids that are joined at the base. It's kind of like that, I think. But either way, this puzzle is a shapeshifter like any other because I've removed so much material from some areas but not so much from others, and I actually think that if I put it into a checkerboard pattern here, it looks really nice. I don't know what it is about those two corner pieces hanging out on either side, but this is just a very interesting shape, and it's actually not that hard to do despite the fact that the cuts look very complicated. I really like this kind of cut, but I'm going to move on to something else now because I think I run the risk of doing this to death if I start doing different combinations of this kind of cut. But anyways, I hope you guys like this puzzle. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.